I mean, it's easy now to look back on the past and try and sort of give it some shape and form. But at the time, you're in a total state of confusion, muddling about, because you're trying to be in this band and be successful or make it work, and things aren't working out, and you don't really understand why. You can't believe that someone's deliberately trying to screw it up, and yet the other half of you saying, this man's crazy, he's trying to destroy me. And destroy me, I mean, it gets very personal. You get very worked up into a state of extreme rage. And I mean, obviously there were some incredible moments of clarity where you realise that things are not right, like the wonderful American tour, which will live forever. Syd detuning his guitar all the way through one number, striking the string and detuning the guitar, which is very modern, but very difficult for a band to follow or play. And other occasions where he'd more or less just cease playing and stand there, leaving us to muddle along as best we could. And times like that you think, what we need is someone else, or at least some help.
Nick actually came to me and sort of nudge, if such and such happened, and if this and if that, would you be interested at all? And went through that whole thing in a sort of fairly roundabout way, suggested that this might come off at some point. And then just after Christmas, right after their Olympia gig, I actually got a phone call where I was staying. I didn't have a phone, actually, or they didn't know it, but they sent a message through someone else that they knew that knew me for me to get in touch for taking the job, so to speak. There was no real discussion or any meetings to think about it, or any auditions or anything like that. They just said, did I want to? And I said yes, and it was as simple as that. It was totally impossible for me to understand the way Syd's mind was working at that time. It was also, from having been to 2 or 3 of their gigs, impossible for me to see how they could carry on like that, because Syd very obviously wasn't up to being in that group at that time, doing what he was doing. It was painfully obvious that they were just kind of marking time at that moment. And actually joining the group was a very difficult thing, because originally there was some kind of a plan for there to be 5 people, and for Syd to phase out of the live thing and but keep on writing. But we realised that that was an impossibility almost as soon as we'd thought of it, or they'd thought of it. So that idea very rapidly got dropped. We did do 3 or 4 gigs with 5 people playing. Pretty strange. The first 4, 5, 6 months of my time in the band, I really didn't feel confident enough to actually start playing myself. I actually sat there mostly playing just rhythm guitar, and I suppose, to be honest, at the time, trying to sound a bit like Syd, but that didn't last very long. I mean, it was obvious the group had to change into something completely different, and they hadn't asked me to join to sound exactly like Syd. But I mean, the numbers that they were doing were still Syd's numbers mostly. Consequently, I mean, there's kind of a fixed thing in your head of how they have been played previously, and that kind of makes it very much harder for you to strike out on your own and do it exactly how you would do it. And you haven't got a clue how you would do it, really, because there's already an imprinted thing in your brain of how the guitar is played on those things. Consequently, it did take some time before I started getting into actually being a member of the band and feeling free to impose my own guitar playing style on it.